Okay, so in talking to the person that wrote the the other code review project that I worked on, he said, "Hey, we should probably do the command one instead because it's a little bit more complete." So I looked at the command and almost immediately I'm like, "Okay, here are things I want to talk about." So we're going to fork this and do the same sort of work that we did before. This first video, I'm just going to show you my workflow for doing this. Fork this project, and I can just do it straight in code spaces. So I'm going to close this one down, close remote connection. And now we're going to clone repository in container volume. We're going to pick it from our GitHub repositories and grab that one. We'll likely need to add the dev container files. We're going to add the Rust dev containers, and we'll be up and running in just a second. There we go, a little easier for you to read. Let's cargo build this. Touch. So I'm starting off with a workspace, and we need what members equal Rust CMD. It's an array, I think, right? Cargo build. Multiple workspace roots found in the same. So this has its own workspace. Workspace package. So okay. Let's see how I want to do this. So I want to do it this way. I'm just going to move everything from there into the root directory. And close all. I think now I can do cargo build. Now you might be like, oh, well, now we have different, it's a different structure. Things don't quite make sense. But the top level should have, I should be able to build from the top level. At least that's my sort of philosophy. So the top level ought to be a workspace if it is. Anyway, this is how I think it should be done. Oh, look, we have tests. Look at that. That's nice. So let me just look at this and go into what I was concerned about. So one thing first caught my eye is these command handlers are using this any trait. And I think that this might just be a future thing that's going on, but any is certainly powerful, but to say that the command handler must be an any, when I looked in here and the only use of any was in the test, that seemed weird. Because like this is trying to do a downcast, and doing a downcast doesn't make sense to me. Again, there's certainly reasons for using any. I just don't think that it's here. And do I want to? I'm not going to strip it out because it doesn't matter there. I'm curious where we're going with this anything. So looking at the meat of the code here, kind of nice that these are generics across buff, read, and write. I kind of wonder if this could just be generic over read, and you could pass in a buff reader. Because I'm not sure that this needs to have a buffered I/O. It just needs to have a read I/O. So if this were just I/O read, run this for IO read, what fails? Read line. Okay, so read line is a buff IO trait, and that's why it's there. Okay. Probably good in this. If we need to have this, does it make sense to have command construct a buffered reader or the outside? I don't know. I could argue in different directions. So perhaps an interesting point of intellectual debate, but let's just leave it where it is. This could probably benefit from using right bang, self set out. Yeah, that, like, is that better? Does this work? Flush error failed. Why did flush error fail? Did it fail because of this? I don't know. I'm just experimenting now. It actually seemed to. So why would it fail if I did right instead of right with this? Something maybe to look into. I don't know. Okay. Let's go on. I did want to look into parse command. This all looks sort of fine. Let's look at parse command. So I think the thing in here is to parse command ought to return two string refs that are tied to line. And that's somewhat going to be dependent on what our execute takes, because execute takes an owned copy of string. And I don't think it should. It should almost never pass string at all, ever, to a command, unless the command is absolutely has to take ownership of that, and there are reasons, but may actually try to fix this. So args here ought to be a string ref, which probably breaks things. Let me just fix what gets broken. So here args would be that. This would be an at stir. This would be an at stir. This can just pass in a blank. And oh no, we fail. Why do we fail? Oh, because we didn't compile. Args. Oh, our doc test failed. That's nice when your doc test does fail. Because this way we're updating our documentation and we're not carrying on tech debt in our documentation. The fact that you can like the doc tests are compiled and tested is just a huge feature of that. Okay. So the only thing I did here was change the handlers to take a command handler to take a reference. The args are all references, and I think let's go to command handler. Execute. Yeah, that's good. So our command handler is now more generic, and let me go in here into command and update that. it's really the parsing. Parse command here. To have this return these two, I don't want that. This should really return stirs because we don't need this to allocate anything. It can return string references to what's already inside of that. And I want to tag this, or not tag this, set the lifetime of that. There we go. So split white space. This version can just do, we can't unwrap or default. We need to unwrap or that. I don't like it, but it's right. And then I don't like this either, but the rest, like this even like cleans up white space. We're not actually using args in anything for the tests that we're doing, so the args don't matter. But let's do this. I really don't like this. What args equal line, and we're going to index in there, yeah. And let's go ahead and trim it. Oh, I'm actually swallowing hard to do this, but this is I'm going to say better so far. Oh, we actually do have a parser for this, or a test for that. And yeah, I'm not surprised we don't do that. So this is saying that we cannot borrow command. Sorry. Borrow is not implemented for string. Oh, because command is already a string reference, so that's what we need. There we go. So we're passing now. So what did I do here? We're looking for parse, right? Lowercase parse command. So I don't want to don't allocate any strings. Like we can use the line that already exists and just return references to what's already there. And we lifetime tag these to say that these two arguments are going to be tied to the lifetime of line. That's what our lifetime ticks are showing right in this. In this case, we split on white space. We get the first command. It's kind of right. It's kind of not right. Different ways to do this. Actually, this is fine. So we get the command, and then we say, okay, the rest of it is going to be the substring of what's after this, just trimmed. And because of the way this works, like this indexing can panic, and usually coding practices are going to say that you should use get because indexing into a slice can fail. This won't fail from a logic point of view, but it's, I don't know, it's fine. Another way to do this, I think, would be is to say first space is going to be line dot find that first space. Otherwise, it's going to be at the end. Yeah, that's right. So this is telling us where that first space is, and then the the command is going to be the substring of that up to the first space, and then the args is going to be from the first space to the end, and we trim the white space off of the end. That's kind of what I prefer to do. And this should test fine. And I'm happy that there's a test for this because, you know, this is maybe better. I certainly like this better. It's doing the same thing. This is really 6 of one, half a dozen of another. To me, my brain thinks this is better. And then I sort of have to just to say, okay, what if there's an empty string? What do we get? And we should get an empty command, empty parse. But let's make sure. So let's implement a new test. Test empty string parse. So we're going to say command and arg is going to be that, and command and arg should be empty. That's what we expect. Yeah. So this is kind of testing that extreme case where we don't have to make sure like our indexing is working right. Otherwise, this would have panicked. I might also then want to say fn test removes extra spaces, and that's probably what we want. And this will fail because I think our first you see, hopefully, like you should have anticipated that this would fail, because this is what we would want to get. We want command and then the two args just like that, but we don't trim the first side. So we can fix this by saying let line equal line.trim, and that probably fixes it. Yeah. So you can see here this first one, we would say like changes to foo to foo. It's dealing with somebody who's hit space at the beginning. It's trying to make this more complete, more accurate for that. I start to think, well, could we? Is there something that could fail here? And I don't think it does. Like, I don't know that we want to say that if there's no command here, then it's a failure. The fact that it returns empty or empty strings for both command and args when you pass in a completely empty string, which would be the same thing for this. There. So, that gives us a satisfaction that, anything that's empty is going to do this. We might want to add another one. I know this is going to pass, or I think it will. Empty args. And, yep, that's exactly what I wanted. So, you can see here that we don't have any arguments. Arguments is going to be empty. And, if we have spaces afterwards, it's also empty. So, good. That's, perhaps better in your definition of better. And, good. I'm relatively happy with where that is. I like that there are a lot of tests here. It makes me then be allowed to sort of change this with impunity. Other than that, I mean, I'd want to figure out what's going on with the any stuff because I don't think that needs to be in play here at all. One thing I don't know is in execute. Let's see the definition for this. So we don't have, yeah, we have this required method to execute command, but I don't know what usize is. I don't know the purpose of this usize is because they return like 1 and 0 in various things. And I don't know what this magic 1 is supposed to be. I guess I could look. So if it's 0, then we stop. Oh, that makes me sad. Let's fix that. How do I want to do this? Option of an empty. That's kind of better. That's more of a Boolean to indicate that we are going to stop. Really, what probably want this. A command result is going to be a stop or a continue sort of thing. This is really what you want to communicate. So this is going to return a command result. And we just mucked up a whole bunch of things, but that's okay. Command result continue. Because this actually communicates now what we want to do. Let's see where we fail. So this now needs to say if let. What's the right thing to do? Matches? If that matches command result stop. Is that the right way to do it? Because it's not public. Yeah, so now we have to use it. Import. It's better. Command result. I'm not excited about the name here. Is it going to figure it out? Command result stop. And we're going to assert that that is equal to. Can we compare that? I don't think we do. I think we have to matches that. Good. Command result continue. Did we want to continue for that? Yeah. This args is not that. It's Aster. How did that not? Oh, because we're not building the full version. Command result. This is where those breaking changes become challenging. Because I'm certainly touching a lot of things, but really I'm relying on the compiler to make sure that I've done everything that I want to do. We need to use command result. Almost. Unwrap or default. Command head. Oh. TINUE. Getting close. Undeclared type because we need to include it up above. There we go. Use it. There we go. So now we're clean. Let's see if we can actually build. Yeah, we can build the whole thing. Cargo Clippy. Wonder how Clippy clean it is. Written amounts not handled. Oh, this is where I think there's a write all. Is what we really want. So let's search for write. Cargo test. Oh, we failed. What did we fail? Oh, we actually failed the thing. Because failed to write the whole buffer. Ooh. Did we find an issue? Standard set up flush error. Test run stud out flush error. E.kind. App.run. I think maybe do that. 359. Because kind now is write 0, and this is looking for write other. So this is a unique test that's supposed to look, the problem is this fails before, but now we're failing in here because so let me just fix this to be write 0. The string is probably wrong too. Failed to write the whole buffer. Actually asserting on this string for a system error message is probably brittle, but we're at least better with that. Let's look at Clippy. This is probably going to be the only version of this video for this particular project, so this is going to go long, and I think we're good. Cargo build, cargo test. So we're Clippy clean, we're completely clean, and hopefully I can say we're in a better state. You might want to say, well, like the handlers probably need to be given a vector of, well, not a vector, but a reference to an array of string references instead of getting the string representation of the rest of the arguments. You probably want this part or this layer to handle the segmentation of the individual arguments. Otherwise, you're like you're kind of back to Windows, and where Windows is not going to do that right, and you get that error. Hopefully, and it's here. It's not like it's not here. What you really want to do is say the rest of the arguments. You want to have like a split args, which is going to take that sort of thing. So split white space, and then probably want to map v.room. Not collect. That's probably the the method that we want to have. Dealing with lifetimes, so let's put a lifetime on this. And this isn't like even dealing with the, we don't need the self here. We don't need self here either. But so this is just a way to do this argument splitting. And actually now we don't need lifetimes because we don't need lifetimes for this or the other one, because the lifetimes will get elided. So another reason not to, be dependent on self. Let me just make sure we build right. Really didn't build. What's going on here? Parse command is a method. Setup dot parse command. What's setup? Hold on. That's not the right setup. App.parse command. We just need this to be now command : parse command. Hold on, let me. Okay, well, let's fix this. So the parsing and the splitting here don't need to be member functions of that. Parse command. Now that's what that is. That's fine. Testing parse command. There we go. This is what we want. So we don't have to set up anything. I don't know what this setup call is, but and I understand this was my test that I wrote, but I'm going to say that the Copilot did that quote for me. I could certainly do a search and replace, but we're almost done. Good. We're building. We get error or warnings saying that split args is not used, and this is only because I'm not like actually using this here because we're not passing in a. You know what? Since this is going to be a one and done sort of video, let's do this. So args here should really be that. Change the parameter to match. Oh, because let's go into handle. I want this to be that. Let's see where everything breaks. So the argument to this is going to be an empty set. So args here, let args equal split args. That's now a vector of this, so I'm just going to call it as slice. You could also take the address of the @ sign in front of that. Works both ways. Stir. Good. One thing I don't want to do, I don't need that, is use generics in this, like I did in the previous video. And there are reasons, but we're not going to get into that. So I don't need to split white space here. I just need the first one. So args next, unwrap or default. First. Default, unwrap or empty. And that's probably not what we want. If match on file name and some of this D4. This is what we're going to do in the sum case. Is that right? This, I'm trying to make this rustier. Boom. Good. Because we may not have a first argument. That's why, we get an option and then we say, okay, if we did get a first argument, this is what we're going to do with it. Otherwise, we say bad things happened. Cargo build. Cargo test. Failed. Oh, yay, we failed. Probably the doc tests are failing, right? Yeah. So args now are that. That's fine, that's fine. More doc tests, I'm sure. Oh. We're repeating the doc test here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do first unwrap or and empty. I might have to take the address of the empty. Yeah. Or a reference to an empty. Execute incompatible types. Stir. I don't know why I changed it that way. Stir cannot be. We just need to star it. Wait a minute. 44 standard at stir does not implement display because. Well, I know why it doesn't implement display. Why is this complaining? Oh, because we're here. Args. How do we? This doesn't. The what it's doing doesn't make sense. We don't want to do this. I'm just going to do that because I want to move on. I don't want to make that be more valid. I just want to get this to compile, and I think we're going to be done. Although usually when I say we're done, I go back and find something else. So let's check Clippy. Nice. Okay, let me just go through what I just did. I think you were following, but I have a meeting I got to go to. So we're going to be real quick. The main thing is that I pulled out the parsing into its own empty functions here. And that was unchanged from our previous convert. We added split args because we need to we want to be able to pass in a vector of arguments to our handlers so that the handlers don't have to handle all the nasty parsing of that. And in doing so, we certainly had a big breaking change for our handlers, which we had to fix. And then in doing so, we were able to better parse that out. So, okay, that's the end of this huge long video. Sorry for the length, but wanted this to be that one and done, and I'm done. So have a great day.